I think universities are making 7 fatal errors. Top-heavy administration, insane increases in tuition, the gerrymandering of the grade system. So I think I got 6 there. All of those, they're not good. They're fatal, I think, all of them. I've hired some people to build an online education platform, and they've been working on it for 6 months, and we have a bit of a prototype, and we're trying to figure out how to build an alternative. We figure we can offer a university quality, high-level university quality equivalent for about $2,000 over 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. To me, there's this question of what is Peterson Academy? An online university I've enrolled to where there's no professor interaction, there are no exams or testing, but eventually maybe there will be. Well, is that a university?
Jordan Peterson is a character, a clinical psychologist and former professor at the University of Toronto. Some may love him, some may hate him, but there's no denying that the man has become a massive presence on social media over the past decade. As a former university professor himself, Peterson has for many years been scathing towards the current state of the education system.
And how do you feel about the current educational system, period?
I've seen large institutions fall apart because they make a fatal error. I think universities are making 7 fatal errors. They're not good. They're fatal, I think, all of them. And so I think I don't know what's going to happen to the university system over the next 20 years, but I'm certainly not optimistic about it. Say at the typical Ivy League,
right.
Harvard, for example, which is such a catastrophe. Like, I was there at Harvard in the 1990s. I loved that place. It was really forward-looking and aimed at excellence with very minor exceptions, like truly minor exceptions. It was a powerhouse, man. And I went back and saw a bunch of my old professor friends a month ago, and they've all joined free speech movement at Harvard, and they're fighting against their own administration. And these were like the best professors I ever met in my life. And that's what they've been reduced to.
When did it start, the decay?
Specifically in the universities?
Yes.
It started with the incursion of modified Marxism in the 1960s and then really accelerated in the 70s. It sort of went like this. You know how things fail? Gradually, then suddenly. It hit critical mass in terms of failure probably around 2014, 15, pretty much when things blew up around me. That's why they blew up around me.
Peterson not only identified problems with the education system, he created a solution. His very own online university, Peterson Academy.
I experimented with putting my lectures online and found that I could teach far more people at very low cost than I could at the university. And I thought, well, why not scale that? What I'm hoping to do is to find the best lecturers in the world and to bring them to as wide as possible an audience.
He came to me and he basically said, I want you to do the best course that you've always wanted to do.
We want to bring you the highest quality education possible at the lowest possible price.
It's extremely high-level content that anybody can use to educate themselves, and it's available to everybody.
Well, that would be good. I think it's funny, because I got canceled at the university, so I could try to return the favor.
Jordan Peterson is of course the face of Peterson Academy and presents some of the educational content inside the platform, but the Peterson Academy platform is essentially managed by Jordan's daughter Michaela Fuller and her husband Jordan Fuller, who acts as COO of Peterson Academy. Peterson Academy officially launched on the 9th of September 2024, and people could pre-enroll from the end of July until the 20th of August 2024. As I was trying to research exactly when Peterson Academy launched, I found surrounding this the first example of shambolic communication. There was initially heavy promotion surrounding a launch towards the end of 2023, and eventually a launching date of November 2023. This obviously didn't happen. Jordan himself would then go on to announce that the soft launch pre-enrollment period would be coming in February 2024. Then in February, he said it would be coming within a month. Then he would say it was coming at the end of May. He said the academy itself would be launching in June, then the end of June. And after June, he finally gave up on promising specific dates and stuck with simply saying that it was coming soon. As I mentioned, some watching this may think Jordan Peterson is fantastic, and some may think he's a clown, but this is besides the point of this video. I simply want to look at what Jordan Peterson promised with Peterson Academy and see how it lines up with the product he delivered. So let's have a look at what Jordan Peterson was promising with his online university in the years he spent promoting it prior to its launch.
And then with my daughter, Michaela, I've started this Peterson Academy, and our plan, this is a funny plan, we want to drive the cost of a bachelor's degree down to $4,000. And so we've got 30 professors on board so far. I've been able to identify stellar lecturers from all over the world. We bought a studio in Miami. We have the professors come there. We try to be very hospitable and to treat them well, which doesn't generally happen at universities, by the way. And they lecture they give 4 2-hour lectures on whatever they really want to teach about. And they have a lot of autonomy, we're not constraining them. We're pursuing accreditation through a variety of different avenues. So we hope to be able to, what we'll do is take 2 or 3 of those 8-hour lectures, bundle them together. That'll give you 1 university credit. We want to get actual credit for it. So imagine we charge tuition, and we'll try to keep that low cost. Like I said, we want to knock the cost of the whole degree down to $4,000. That's 95% reduction in cost. That's the plan. And we are talking to some different institutions, mortar and brick institutions, about how accreditation might be pursued and how we could partner with them to also offer people other elements of the university experience that you can't easily virtualize. We're hoping that a degree from this university will indicate to employers a true level of competence.
Is this just for personal education, or will you be giving degrees?
We're going to approach that in 2 ways. So we'll offer certification at different time spans. So, generally it takes you 4 years to get a degree, but you could imagine that it would be useful to have a 1-year certificate, a 2-year certificate, a 3-year certificate, a 4-year certificate. There's no compelling reason why it has to be 4 years. We'll keep very detailed records of our students' academic progress, and they'll be able to offer them directly to employers. So we want to be able to assure employers that anybody who's gone through the certification process that's part and parcel of Peterson Academy has done the work and met the standards, and the standards will be high. Now, simultaneously, we're working on technical accreditation, right, so that we can have this operate as a standard university.
Right.
Now, I'm in discussion with a number of different jurisdictions to move accreditation forward, and if that happens, it can also be applied retroactively. So if we can figure out how to do it with an administration or a jurisdiction that's willing to do it, and we don't have to compromise the quality, then we'll go the classic accreditation route. Otherwise, I'm just going to go directly to employers and say, look, we're going to be very, very careful about who we grant certification to, and you'll be able to rely on the certification from Peterson Academy as an indication of intellectual ability and also work ethic, and we'll document that by the record-keeping process that we use as part and parcel of the platform.
Jordan Peterson promised his followers with Peterson Academy, a legitimate university in online form, that he would be working towards getting accreditation so that you could get legitimate university degrees with Peterson Academy, that even while he doesn't have accreditation, the level of education in Peterson Academy will be so great that he will be able to recommend people that have achieved certificates to employers, and it will help them get employment. He promised a university that would be so legitimate that it would drive the cost of a bachelor's degree down to $4,000. This, for me, is where the major problems with Peterson Academy begin. The product that Peterson has produced is not close to what he promised. It is just a bunch of video content. No accreditation, no exams, no certificates that will get you a job anywhere in the world. Just a bunch of videos. Throughout the rest of the video, I will show some clips from this podcast, hosted by Jeffrey Van Leon, which features 3 former Peterson Academy students sharing their experience. I'll leave a link in the description for anyone who wants to hear the full conversation. They spoke about their experience of joining Peterson Academy and witnessing the product that Jordan and Michaela delivered compared to what they promised, which begs the question, is Peterson Academy a university or a streaming platform?
It was very confusing. Like to me, there's this question of what is Peterson Academy? I started to be confused about what Peterson Academy was. Is it a university an online university I've enrolled to where there is no professor interaction, there are no exams or testing, but eventually maybe there will be, hopefully, right? Well, is that a university? And is it a university if price increases for tuition are not communicated? Like I was confused about what it was. As I'm moving forward, I really want to answer the question, what is a university? What makes an online university different from an in-person, a brick and mortar university? Can you even have a true online university? What does it need? What needs to be in place for it to really be a university? Because I don't know that online courses equal university. For me, I thought it was a university, and I'm not sure it is. I'm not saying it's not I think it's a streaming platform.
Jordan has promised that he is seeking accreditation for Peterson Academy when the product is simply videos for people to stream, and there's not even exams or any real tests of any kind to properly evaluate the students.
The second type of question was more in the sense of, hey, you mentioned upfront that there will be a couple of features available, like blocking features, like groups, like, all sorts of different features.
Testing and exams. Testing and exams.
And those aren't there yet. So what's up with that?
I posted a meme back on October 13th that was a joke because some people were starting to share their concern that final exams hadn't come about yet, because there were people who at that point had been on the platform for almost 2 months, a month and a half, and had finished a number of classes, and they were like, man, I'm putting all this time and energy into these classes and the exams still aren't there. Am I going to have to go back and rewatch the entire class in order to do well on the exam?
As the months went on following the launch of Peterson Academy, more cracks began to form. Jordan Peterson is known for being a free speech absolutist. It's kind of his whole thing, or a massive part of it. Have a listen to this clip of Peterson in 2018 talking about how crucial the freedom of speech is.
One of the things that we learned in the West, and one of the things that's part of the great English journalistic tradition, is that journalists in particular have the freedom to say what they want and think what they want, and that keeps everyone, including the journalists, honest and on track. And we sacrifice that, especially at the feet of the idea that no one is to be oppressed by anything anyone else says. We sacrifice that at our complete peril. It's the cardinal right, because when people speak freely, they're able to think, and people orient themselves in the world by thinking, and they re-update the state by thinking, and they conquer unknown lands by thinking. And if you put restrictions on their ability to speak freely, then you put restrictions on their ability to think, and all of those other processes grind to a halt, and then everyone suffers for it.
In that clip, Jordan spoke specifically about the importance of journalists having freedom of speech. Well, in August of 2024, following the soft launch of Peterson Academy, Alex Boyd, journalist for the Toronto Star, joined the Academy. She was reportedly very open about the fact that she was in the platform to do research for an article, but this was apparently unacceptable because she is critical of Jordan Peterson. Alex was suddenly banned from Peterson Academy. Many of Jordan Peterson's loyal supporters admire him for his stances on free speech. So this move caused some serious divide and confusion amongst the members of Peterson Academy.
All caps Kevin is not actually the first person who got banned. I believe the first person who got banned was somebody who signed up to take the courses, but also out of curiosity as a journalist, as like a journalistic endeavor. And so I believe, I believe there was a journalist who came and was open and honest in the social feed. I wasn't there for that. I heard about it later. I'd read his article. But he was open and honest, like, hey, I'm here. I want to see what all this is about. everybody kind of knows he doesn't really like Jordan Peterson or like the people, but he's curious and he's like, anybody want to talk to me about what this place means to you? And he was banned without any clear violation of any code of conduct, right? And that was included in the article. And there was differing opinions in the community about that, right? So you had people in the community who thought, well, he's not here in good faith if this is a journalist who doesn't agree with us. And you can tell by my tone, I have a problem with that view. I have a problem with that. I think that if this is a university and we're going to say we're devoid of ideology, then why not allow us to be adults? And if we want to talk to this person, let us talk to this person.
Right.
And if he wants to say bad things about us because that's his opinion, let's be who we say we are and allow that freedom of speech. I don't see a clear violation of a code of conduct in posting on the social feed to say, does anybody want to talk to me? I'm a student, I am watching the courses, but I am also, like a journalist.
There would be more hypocrisy to come surrounding Peterson Academy and free speech. It all started when they announced that they would be raising the price of enrollment by 20% in January of 2025, just months after the launch of the Academy in September. Suddenly, they said that current members had until the 23rd of January to pay upfront and in bulk to lock in up to 3 years of membership at the current price. Considering this was all so sudden only months after the launch of the Academy, and Jordan had been claiming to have already amassed 40,000 members, paying $499 annually. This, by all accounts, left a significant amount of Peterson Academy students incredibly bemused.
Primarily in the podcast from Jordan Peterson, I believe it was said that they had the goal of making the price as low as possible to make sure that everybody would have the chance in the world to go to the Peterson Academy, to get an accreditation and to use that in order to get a better life for themselves and for the loved ones and for the community and everything else around that, which is a pretty fair statement, because if you look at the average price for like a university, it's probably at least times 10 times 20 of what Peterson Academy is asking for. The point is, it's not that much. So that was the statement that they made. At the same time, there was no talks about it increasing over time. And thus, again, this came out of the blue. And also a newsletter was sent out to everybody's mail. Like, hey, be aware of this. Our prices are going up with 20%. So if you want to lock in your current price, you can do it up to 3 years. Just make sure you do it now.
And they're one lump sum. That's important. It's like a lump. It's a lump sum. It's not like indicate that you are going to stay for 3 years and we'll lock you in at your subscription. It's like, warning, you've got 3 weeks to give us a lump sum of this much. Otherwise, the price goes up 20%.
Yeah. ... And actually, there was another point, because Jordan Peterson, I believe, also said somewhere that they had a lot of funding because of the early enrollment, that they could be going on for quite a while. But now the statement would be that they need additional funding in order to keep going. That's like a discrepancy. And people were asking questions like, okay, clearly something changed. You need more funding now, but what changed exactly? What is the thing that makes you need more funding right now? Which is a very legitimate question to ask. And pretty much all across the board, the primary thing here was communication. There was either a lack of communication, so we were missing information on certain things, or there were discrepancies in communication. So a thing was being claimed, for example, on a podcast, like we have enough funding, and now all of a sudden there is not enough funding, and there's a lot of why questions coming out of that. The thing that a lot of people, I think, were expecting was a statement by the management team of Peterson Academy that would outline why they made the decision to do the price increase of 20%, what led up to that, and also looking in the future, what can you expect as a student, especially in regards to those missing features. It was primarily a communication issue.
As the confusion around this sudden raise of price spread through the chat in the Peterson Academy platform, it all turned into chaos when one of the former members who spoke in this podcast shared what sounds like a pretty harmless meme to break the ice.
On January 1st, Michaela had posted a list of her New Year's goals. And so what got me in trouble, I think, or what kind of brought more things out into the open, perhaps, was that I took that list. She had some things blacked out because, there are things that should be kept private. And under her Peterson Academy one, where she had a large part blacked out, I put raised prices.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite funny actually when I saw that, because it's a really good way to cope with it, right? Because you know that within the whole community, that specific subject is the thing that's being discussed non-stop. You know, there was a huge confusion. So when you posted it, actually, it is in some way it was a sense of relief. You had me laughing. I found it quite quite hilarious actually.
There is one person who did not find the meme about the price hike funny. Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela Fuller. She quoted the meme inside the Peterson Academy platform with the most unbelievable post that shocked many of the members. She said to all of their paying subscribers, "I mean this with love because I really enjoy your memes, but I've been working since I was in grade 2. I sold books, shoveled snow, raked, cleaned cars, then had a paper route, then multiple restaurant and bar jobs. I was making enough when I was 15 at an ice rink, working evenings and weekends to easily afford $50 a month for a university education and would have been thrilled with it. I don't come from money at all, and I didn't really have extra money until I was 26. But it's not hard to get a starter job and move your way up if you make yourself useful." After talking about how the goal price point was always $4,000 for a degree, she says, "We also have a short-term goal of providing access to Peterson Academy for low-income students and vets. But if $50 a month is too much, and you're not in a position where you're a vet or a single parent, you should probably change jobs and/or work harder. Resentment is poisonous and can destroy your life. You have to figure things out because nobody else will for you. Hopefully, the information and community on this platform will help, but ultimately it's up to you. Really appreciate you guys. Great things are coming, but I wanted to respond to people complaining about $50 a month for the quality of these courses because that's ridiculous." Naturally, after this vile, arrogant, disgusting post from Michaela, the backlash from the members of Peterson Academy only became more prevalent.
And I felt that Michaela's response was so disrespectful to the community that then I was angry. The Academy was advertised as a place where, you know, education is accessible to everyone. Out of 40,000 students, absolutely there are going to be some people, even if they're not a single parent, even if they're not a veteran, for whom $500 or $1,500 right now in the next 3 weeks, for some people that is going to be a lot. And it's completely valid for them to have questions about whether they should be making that investment, given that there is no testing and, you know, no exams and no accreditation yet. The questions are completely valid. And to use language such as, you know, if you make yourself useful, you should get another job or work harder if you have these questions. I found that so disrespectful. When I saw people's comments like, "What the heck? I live in Mexico. What the heck? I'm on disability." And there were no empathetic responses given to that. First I laughed and then I was angry. Like, I just think that is a very disrespectful way to speak to a community of people, and it was confusing to me.
What really seemed to trip people up was the sentence, "Maybe you should work harder," or "Maybe you should change jobs." There's also a couple of hidden assumptions in there, because you're implying that people are not working hard enough, and you're pretty much throwing out the window every possible reason why people might have that might not even the problem, might have those questions. You're throwing out all the possibility, and you're just saying, "Hey, you're probably not working hard enough."
And Jeffrey, but people told her why in the comments. That's why I said, like, I am upset with Michaela Fuller right now. Like, not as in like I hate the woman. I'm not okay with speaking to people that way. And again, because of the power dynamic. The daughter of people's heroes kind of just like slapping them in the face for asking uncomfortable questions. And I'm not saying that was her intent, but I'm saying this was the behavior and the perception. And I am not okay with it. And that's why I continue to be vocal.
I was surprised at the tone.
You have a platform of 40,000 people who are trying to better themselves. That's part of the mission statement. Jordan Peterson literally speaks to that demographic. And so what if they are having a hard time financially and they don't, for whatever reason, have the time or capacity to go work in an ice rink right now or shovel snow or get a paper route? Don't show contempt or disrespect for the community who is here in good faith supporting your vision. Don't speak that way about my people. Like, I care about this community.
Those three different types of question, the financial question, the missing feature question, and the information discrepancy question, those need to be answered. That was not being done. They were not being understood. Instead, they got the comment to their head, work harder. That tells me, at least from a business and leadership perspective, you are not listening. You're not understanding what your people are, what the people on your platform are asking, why they are asking that. It's a fundamental lack of empathy, which leads to miscommunication.
Michaela's response to the backlash was this post inside the platform saying that anyone who is upset about the price change or expecting constant one-on-one communication with management can contact the support email and get a full refund. Otherwise, keep the feed focused on friendly debate, educational content, personal stories, etc. It wasn't long after this that suddenly, without warning, the two women who featured in this podcast were banned from Peterson Academy, followed in the coming weeks by Jeffrey, the host. And then, one by one, other students of Peterson Academy who dared criticize Jordan and Michaela for their raising of the enrollment fee and their handling and communication of it were banned without warning. I personally find this astonishing because Jordan Peterson built a career out of being the free speech guy, and yet people were promptly banned from his free speech online university for daring to criticize him and his daughter. One of the students put in a complaint to the Better Business Bureau, and Peterson Academy responded to the complaint, saying that the individual's removal from the platform was necessary due to multiple complaints of harassment, targeting and bullying which violated their guidelines. The user rejected the response from Peterson Academy and asked them to provide proof of this behaviour, and to date have still had no response. I had been meaning to look into Peterson Academy for quite some time because, quite frankly, anytime an influencer launches an online university or school, it sets off alarm bells. And I have to say, I am not impressed. I'll emphasize again that I am not critiquing the streaming content of Peterson Academy in this video, because from what I can see, this is very subjective. But the absolute blatant disdain and disrespect that Jordan Peterson and Michaela Fuller treated their loyal fans with is just shameful. They were the ones who ran the academy like a shambles, contradicting themselves by raising the price after a few months. And when their fans dare to acknowledge this, Michaela has the nerve to arrogantly tell them that if they can't afford $50 a month, they need to work harder or get another job. This is despite the fact that since Jordan Peterson blew up on social media a decade ago, the Peterson family have enjoyed extravagant wealth. Michaela may say that she's been working since 2nd grade, but she sure as hell didn't have to worry about how she was going to pay for her wedding. And let's not forget what product Jordan and Michaela promised their fans.
We have a number of jurisdictions who are interested in accrediting us. And as long as we can negotiate the bureaucratic hurdles, then we should have a full-fledged university, including accreditation, in 6 months. And even if accreditation doesn't work out because the bureaucratic impediments are too great, we'll just negotiate with corporations to accept the credentialing, because the credentialing will be real.
That is not Peterson Academy. In April, possibly because of the backlash, they lowered the price from the $599 annually to $399.
We have secured funding to the point where we are dropping the price from $599 to $399 a year as of today.
But in my opinion, it is too little, too late. I'm not sure if Jordan Peterson and Michaela Fuller set out to mislead their fans with their promises for Peterson Academy. The most charitable explanation I can give is sheer incompetence. But even if it is incompetence, it is not okay to treat your audience this way. They have large platforms and a responsibility. They owe them an acknowledgement that their plans for Peterson Academy went wrong and an explanation as to why and what they plan to do to make it right. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more of this content, please subscribe. And if you'd like to support the production of these videos, you can join as a member. Andrew Tate is also suing me for my coverage of him on social media. If you'd like to support the crowdfund to support our legal defense against the Tates, I will also leave that link in the description.